All right, the one thing I wanted to talk about is that those recent Haitian migrants from that basically got dipped when they were in Texas. Because you see some of the pictures, a lot of the U.S. Custom Border Protection officers basically were looking like slave catchers from the plantation era. Basically, run up these Negroes because basically they said that thousand Haitian immigrants who arrived through to Del Rio, Texas, they basically got rounded up like cattle, and they said, y'all niggers, we don't want you niggers in our country. I mean, I'm not really going to read a whole article, but the gist of that is, yeah, that looked like something from a slave film. All right, the optics of that basically were very discomforting and unsettling. But it was again, it just showed you due to the fact that a contrast to a lot of those Middle Eastern immigrants from Afghanistan, I believe, who many of them were rushing, fleeing their country because of the Taliban taking on Biden US saying, yeah, we're done here. Yeah, you guys are on your own. Yeah, there's this, but there are a lot of those, well, the ones that were able to make, that were allowed in the country, and are the ones that actually must stay on the plane. Because if you see pictures of those Afghan immigrant citizens who are fleeing or literally risking life and limb to get out of the country because due to the Taliban's very dark, violent history, yeah, they know that there's going to be a huge bag of bodies. But the thing with Haiti, which is also has its own problems, contrast with how these Haitian deportations were treated, and it's not really surprising though, because it just basically just shows you how that which skin color gets more treated better. And yeah, will they allow some black immigrants from the Caribbean, Africa? And yeah, to a controlled extent to say, because America said, okay, we'll do the fact that we want to undermine American blacks, because there is that's the reason why a lot of black immigrants in the last few decades have been allowed in the country. We allowed up to a point, because see, we just want just enough darkies in America, but we want to keep it mostly a white ethno state, even though these other groups who are not black, who we can tolerate a bit better, we'll allow into the country because we're trying to keep that pyramid scheme going. And so that is basically one of the reasons why a lot of people were on the case about this, because people were just saying, yeah, okay, a lot of these Mexican, Cuban, and okay, or Hispanic, or even these people from Middle East who are non-black. Yeah, they get banged around a bit. Yeah, they put in determined camps. They be some treatment, but there's a bit more sympathy for them for the most part. But these darkies, these Haitian immigrants, were Caribbean, Africa. Yeah, we don't want too many niggers in our country. That's what the optics was. And yeah, for people, I know people said they're expecting that some out of the Trump era, but this is Biden Kamala's era too. So a lot of people were saying that hey, there's not that much difference between which these two as presidents. I mean, one's just less blatant with their bigotry. This is just very telling right here, because they're just trying to maintain that pecking order. And I will say this for the Haitians, a lot of Caribbean African brothers. I don't like the optics of us having to flee our own countries to come into a country that is these North American, European countries, or whichever other countries around the world, and are basically treated like garbage. Um, and because the thing about man, yeah, bear in mind that many of the Caribbean African countries are undermined by many superpowers, but part of that also has the fact that many of us have this culture of fleeing our countries. And yeah, I'm not going to say that okay, that is easy to actually stand and fight, because but part of that is that we have this habit of fleeing, which I don't like the optics of. And yeah, is it going to be hard if we stay back in our countries? Of course, I don't just deny that. But a part of that is that nature of saying that rather than standing firm, fighting for its oars, and not really looking for that little pat on the head from the dominant society in these other countries, we decided, hey, we're just going to tuck tail, ran, and then stuff like this happens. You know, you're back where you started at. But many of us will never learn, because when you have a habit of, but many have a habit of thinking that hey, over life won't see a bed of roses. Many people have taken this very tumultuous journey before. Will tell you, it is the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and this is one of the things you can take away from this, though. And that's pretty much what I say. But sorry for those Haitian immigrants who had to escape hardship back home, but only to come back to face hardship overseas and then face more hardship back home. But at this point, our brothers in the diaspora, we need to start getting rid of that fleeing country. We need to clean up our own countries. And yeah, tell idiots who are going to say that's not easy as it sounds. Of course, it's not going to be easy as it sounds. But you have to start somewhere. But I doubt that many of our brothers and sisters in Haiti and these other Caribbean countries are going to see it like that. Because bear in mind, there are going to be more stories like this to follow where we're going to risk life and limb to go to Uncle Sam, the Queen, or any other places just to be treated like less than. So it goes. So this is for State of Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out our YouTube page, Miles Goes and Fern, Miles Productions, Real Thoughts and Miles. And I bid you adieu.